The galaxy was filled with wonders and dangers alike, but there were always places where even the bravest alien workers refused to go. On the edge of a swirling black hole, a mining station floated in silence. Broken and cursed, aliens called it a graveyard. They said no one who entered ever came back. The mine was rich with rare minerals that powered entire fleets, but its tunnels were unstable. Storms of radiation cut through walls, and strange alien parasites moved in the dark. For 3 months, alien crews tried to work there, and for 3 months, they died. 14 lives lost in a single week. Their screams echoed through broken comms, and then silence. The station's owner, an alien trade syndicate, grew desperate. At a meeting of alien leaders, voices rose in fear. "We cannot risk more lives." One said, "The mine is cursed." Another whispered, "Yet profits called to them like the song of siren." The minerals were worth more than an entire planet's yearly trade. Someone had to go back, but no alien dared. That was when someone mentioned a name whispered across the stars. Humans, the youngest species in the galactic community, but already known for their strange courage. For reasons no alien understood, humans volunteered for jobs that others ran from. They stepped into storms. They fought monsters. They laughed at death itself. The syndicate argued they will die like the others, but desperation forced their hand. A contract was sent across the stars. Recover the mine, seal the dangers, bring back the minerals, or die trying. The reward was enormous, enough to buy a small moon, and still no alien accepted. But when the humans received it, they smiled. Captain Elias, leader of a mercenary crew, read the terms aloud to his team. His voice was calm, almost amused. "Dangerous, high risk, possible death," he said. "Sounds like home." The crew laughed, their eyes shining not with fear, but with hunger for challenge. The next day, they arrived at the alien station where the syndicate waited. Tall creatures with shimmering scales, wide eyes, and trembling hands watched as humans walked into the hall, heavy boots echoing on the metal floor. The aliens expected fear, but they saw none. Instead, the humans looked curious, as if stepping into a puzzle. One alien leaned to another and whispered, "Do they not understand the danger?" Elias heard and smiled. "We understand," he said. "That's why we're here." The contract was signed, and a silence fell over the chamber. The aliens looked at the humans as if watching ghosts walk, already imagining them dead. Yet the humans moved with steady confidence. Later, as the humans prepared their ship, an alien commander approached Elias. His eyes glowed with pity. "Why do you accept this?" he asked. "Do you not value your lives?" Elias looked at him and replied with words that sent a chill down the alien spine. "We value life more than you can imagine. That's why we do what others fear, because someone must." As their ship left the alien station, silence followed. The aliens stood watching until the vessel disappeared into the dark. Some whispered prayers. Others shook their heads, already writing epitaphs in their minds. They believed the humans would never return. But inside the ship, the atmosphere was different. The crew checked weapons, patched suits, and made jokes as if preparing for a game. Fear existed, yes, but did not control them. It became fuel, sharpening their focus. Elias looked at his crew. Soldiers, engineers, miners, survivors. Each of them carried scars for battles fought across the galaxy. And yet each of them smiled. Outside, the black hole pulsed like the heart of a beast. Its light bent and twisted. Shadows stretched across the mining station. The alien graveyard waited, broken tunnels yawning like mouths ready to swallow them whole. "Remember," Elias said as their ship approached the cursed mine, "this is not just about minerals. It is about showing them what humans are made of." The crew answered in unison, voices steady. "Only humans take the jobs too deadly for aliens." Their ship docked with a metallic groan. Lights flickered in the abandoned station, and darkness swallowed the airlocks. On the alien homeworlds, leaders waited for the signal of failure. But for the humans, this was only the beginning. For where others saw death, they saw a challenge. And humans never turned away from challenge. The airlock opened with a heavy hiss, and the smell of burnt metal and dust rushed into the human ship. The abandoned mining station groaned like a dying beast, its corridors dark and broken. For the alien world, This was a cursed graveyard, but for the humans, it was just another workplace. Captain Elias stepped out first, his boots clanging against the station's floor, his visor lit up with warnings. Radiation, unstable gravity, toxic air, all the signs told him to turn back, but he moved forward without pause. Behind him, his crew followed, armed with tools, scanners, and weapons. Their faces showed no fear, only focus. The corridors stretched like endless tunnels of shadows. Broken panels sparked, wires dangled like vines, and strange insect-like sounds clicked in the distance. Somewhere deep in the mine, alien parasites moved, hungry for fresh blood. Aliens called this place death. One of the crew whispered, "Looks like another Tuesday." Another answered, laughter echoing through the comms. Even here, in the belly of danger, humans found a way to joke. It was not carelessness. It was survival. Their humor was their armor. As they moved deeper, cameras installed by the aliens watched them. On a distant ship, an alien commander leaned forward, his wide eyes filled with disbelief. He had expected panic. He had expected humans to run. But what he saw was calm, almost casual. Humans patched broken walls with metal sheets, tightened seals with nothing but tape, and walked into radiation zones like farmers walking into fields. One alien officer muttered, "They should be dead already." Another replied in fear, "Maybe they are not like us." Inside the mine, danger grew. The tunnels twisted into sharp turns, walls cracked, and the hum of the black hole echoed through the metal like a living heartbeat. Gravity pulled unevenly, dragging bodies sideways, yet the humans crawled, climbed, and pushed forward with stubborn energy. Then came the first real test. A tunnel collapsed behind them with a roar, cutting off their return. Dust filled the air, and alien parasites scattered from the shadows, their long legs scraping against steel. Glowing eyes fixed on the intruders, the creatures hissed, hungry. The aliens watching from afar leaned back in horror, whispering prayers for the humans. But Elias simply raised his weapon. "Clear them out." He ordered. His crew moved as one, their weapons fired, echoing like thunder. Parasites leapt, claws flashing, but humans met them with fire and steel. It was chaos, yet controlled chaos. Humans fought shoulder to shoulder, shouting commands, laughing even as monsters closed in. One parasite leapt onto a human miner, its claws sinking into armor. The man screamed, but another human swung a metal pipe and smashed the creature away. They did not abandon their own. They never left anyone behind. When the last parasite fell, silence returned. The crew stood breathing hard, armor scratched, weapons glowing hot. Elias looked around. "Casualties?" he asked. "Scratches, nothing more." One replied. They moved again, as if fighting monsters was part of the schedule. From the alien command ship, disbelief grew. One alien muttered, "They are insane." Another whispered, "No, they are human." Hours passed as the crew pushed deeper into the mine. They sealed breaches, repaired systems, and mapped tunnels. The deeper they went, the more hostile the station became. Radiation storms cut through walls, machinery twisted under gravity, and the shadows whispered with life. Yet the humans never slowed. One moment, an alien camera caught them laughing while eating ration packs in a half-collapsed tunnel. Around them, alarms blared and metal creaked. But humans ate, joked, and even sang. The alien commander shook his head. They face death, yet they act as if it is nothing. His voice trembled. What kind of species are they? The deeper levels of the mine glowed faintly, pulsing with strange energy. Machines half buried in debris hummed with power. Elias studied the readings. "This isn't just mining," he muttered. "Something else is down here." His words carried weight, for he had seen war. He knew when danger was more than natural. The crew exchanged glances. They had accepted a job, but now they felt something bigger waited for them, something hidden that even the aliens feared. Yet no one suggested turning back. No one even spoke of retreat. Humans never walked away from a challenge. As they descended into the final shaft, the black hole's pull grew stronger. Lights flickered, shadows danced, and the station moaned like a creature in pain. Elias raised his hand, stopping his crew for a moment. His voice was calm, steady. "Remember this," he said. "Aliens see this place as death, but we see it as a job, and there is no job too deadly for humans. The crew answered with a single word, their voices echoing in the broken tunnels. Always. And with that, they stepped into the deepest part of the void, unaware that something waited for them below, something far worse than parasites or broken machines. The deeper they went, the darker the mine became. Metal walls groaned as if alive. Every step echoed through endless tunnels, and the pull of the black hole made the air heavy. The humans pushed forward without hesitation, but danger grew with every turn. At first, it was small, loose panels, sharp debris, sudden gravity shifts. The crew handled them like routine problems, laughing as they fixed what others called impossible. Yet soon the mine tested them with more than broken steel. It tested them with death itself. A tremor shook the tunnel, and the floor collapsed. A human engineer named Rourke fell halfway through, dangling above a glowing pit where unstable energy twisted like liquid fire. The aliens watching from their command ship gasped in horror. Already they whispered that the human was lost. But before the flames could take him, two crew members grabbed Rourke's arms, straining with every muscle. The pit below roared, sparks dancing like lightning. "Hold on," shouted one of them. Their boots slid, metal cracked, yet they did not let go. Finally, with a roar of effort, they pulled him up, bruised but alive. Aliens whispered in shock. They risked 3 lives for one. Why? To them, it made no sense, but humans understood. No one was expendable. Hours later, another danger came. The crew entered a chamber filled with broken machines. Their scanners screamed warnings of radiation levels beyond safe limits. Even through suits, it burned, skin tingled, bones ached, one alien commander hissed. They cannot survive this. Yet humans walked in anyway. Captain Elias ordered the team to seal a breach leaking deadly energy, but the task was near impossible. The air was a storm of heat and poison. The machines sparked like angry beasts. One by one the crew tried to weld, patch, and seal, but the storm tore through their tools. Finally, Rourke, the same engineer they had saved, stepped forward, his voice steady though his body shook. "I'll do it," he said. "One person can reach the core, the rest can't risk it." Elias's eyes narrowed. He knew what this meant, but he did not argue. He only nodded. "Make it count." The others watched in silence as Rourke carried the heavy shield plate across the chamber. Radiation clawed at his suit. Alarms screamed. His breathing grew ragged. Each step was slower than the last, but he never turned back. With one final cry, he slammed the plate into place, sealing the breach. The alarms silenced. The deadly glow faded. The chamber grew still. But Rourke did not rise. His suit was cracked, his body weak. He slumped against the sealed wall, coughing. His voice broke through calms, soft but proud. "It's done. The station is safe." And then silence. The humans bowed their heads, grief heavy in their hearts. They had lost one of their own, but his sacrifice had saved them all. From the alien ship, officers trembled. None could believe what they had seen. He gave his life. One whispered, "For what?" "For minerals." Another shook his head, voice hollow. "No. For his people, for his crew." Back in the tunnels, Elias stood tall, his voice steady. "We do not forget. Rourke's courage keeps us alive, and we will honor him by finishing this job." His crew straightened, grief turning into fire. They were tired, battered, but their eyes burned brighter than ever. The aliens could not understand it. To them, survival meant abandoning the weak, calculating value, choosing logic over loyalty. But humans were different. They carried each other, even if it meant paying the ultimate price. Later, as they continued their mission, the aliens watching sent reports back to their leaders. Some called humans reckless, some called them fools, but one commander, his voice filled with unease, said, "They are not like us. They do not fear death the way we do, and that makes them unstoppable." As the humans reached the central shafts of the mine, Elias paused, his hand brushing against the cold metal wall. He remembered Rourke's last words. "It's done. The sacrifice was carved into their mission now." A shadow and a fire at the same time. The crew gathered in silence. One spoke softly. "He gave everything." Another answered, "So we give more." And so, Even in the face of death, they pushed deeper into the cursed mine, driven not by money or survival, but by loyalty and courage, for humans knew one truth that aliens never understood. Every victory comes with a cost, and they were willing to pay it. Far away, on alien homeworlds, whispers began to spread, stories of humans walking into death, laughing, fighting, and sacrificing for one another. Legends are being born in real time, and the galaxy started to realize only humans could take the jobs too deadly for anyone else. The humans had survived what no alien dared face. They had sealed breaches, fought parasites, and lost one of their own. Yet still they pushed deeper into the mine. For them, retreat was never an option. But while they worked in darkness, far above, alien leaders made a choice that would change everything. On the alien command ship, voices rose in secret meetings. The human crew was succeeding too well. The syndicate had expected them to fail, to die, so they could call the mine cursed and abandon it without guilt. But now, humans were turning disaster into victory, and that frightened the powerful. If they succeed, one alien whispered, the galaxy will believe humans are stronger than us. Another hissed, already their courage spreads like fire. If we allow them to finish, we will lose control. The decision came cold and sharp. Sabotage. They would make sure the humans never walked out alive. Unaware of the betrayal above, Captain Elias and his team entered the lower shafts. Their scanners flickered with strange signals. The air grew thicker, alive with whispers of the black hole's pull. The tunnels stretched downward like the throat of a beast. Suddenly, the station shook. Explosions ripped through upper levels. Fire roared in vents. Oxygen drained. The humans staggered as alarm screamed. Hull breach. Multiple systems failing. The mine trembled as if it wanted to collapse on them. The crew fought to stabilize systems, sealing doors and patching holes. But then they realized this was no accident. The explosions were controlled, targeted. Someone had triggered them. Elias clenched his jaw. His mind was sharp. They're trying to bury us, he said coldly. His crew exchanged grim looks. They had already faced parasites and storms, but betrayal cut deeper than any claw. Alien officers watching from hidden channels whispered in guilt. They saw humans struggling against collapsing tunnels, holding back walls with raw strength. Yet the orders from their leaders were clear. No help. Let them die. The humans pressed on. Each corridor was now a trap. Explosive charges triggered walls to collapse behind them. Flames cut off exits. The oxygen scrubbers failed, choking the air. Still, they moved, coughing, bleeding, refusing to stop. One engineer laughed bitterly through his comms. They want us dead, Cap. Elias answered without hesitation. Then we show them death is not enough. The crew's stubbornness turned chaos into survival. With broken tools, they carved new paths through rubble. With scraps of metal, they built makeshift shields against flames. Every time the aliens thought the humans were gone, their cameras showed them still alive, still moving. The alien commander in charge of the sabotage watched in silence, his wide eyes filled with disbelief. Impossible, he muttered. They should have perished a dozen times. Another officer, his voice trembling, whispered, they do not break. They turn death into fuel. Yet betrayal carried its price. In one collapsing tunnel, a human miner named Kara pushed two of her crewmates through a narrow gap as debris thundered down. They screamed for her to follow, but she shoved them forward, smiling through cracked glass. Keep going, she said. The tunnel crushed behind her, silence swallowing her signal. The crew paused, grief burning in their throats. Another loss, another scar. Elias closed his eyes for a moment, then forced himself to speak. She gave her life so we could move. We don't waste that gift. His voice was steel, and the crew obeyed. Above, guilt began to spread among the alien officers. They sacrificed everything for one another, and still moved forward. One whispered, but the syndicate leaders silenced them, their voices cold. Let them die. Their courage must not outshine ours. The humans reached the central chamber, battered, bloodied, and fewer than before. They carried the weight of betrayal and loss, but also a fire that no sabotage could kill. Elias stood tall among his crew. His voice, steady though rage, burned beneath. Aliens fear this mine, he said. Aliens fear us. That is why they try to kill us, and that is why we finish this." From the alien ship, one commander broke silence, his voice soft, almost reverent. "They're not like us. They face betrayal as they face death, with defiance." His words went unheard by his leaders, but they carried truth. The mine groaned again, as if alive. Shadows stretched across the walls, and deep below, something darker than sabotage stirred. The humans prepared to face it, unaware that betrayal was only one layer of danger. Something else, something hidden, waited in the abyss. And so, scarred but unbroken, the humans stepped forward, proving once again that no trap, no fear, and no betrayal could stop them. For the galaxy was learning a truth it had long ignored. Where others surrendered, humans endured. The tunnels of the mine were no longer just broken passages of steel. They were now a battlefield. Explosions had scarred them, betrayal had cut them, and loss had marked them. Yet the humans still moved forward, step by step, against collapsing walls, against fire, against betrayal itself. Captain Elias led at the front, his armor scratched, his visor cracked, but his eyes burned steady. Behind him, his crew followed, fewer now, but sharper than steel. They had lost friends, they had lost trust in the aliens who hired them, but they had not lost their will. That fire pushed them deeper into the cursed mine. Every corridor was chaos. Gravity shifted like waves, pulling their bodies sideways. Sometimes they had to crawl across walls to move forward. Other times, the black hole's pull made them feel as heavy as stone. Their suits strained, their muscles burned, but they did not stop. The aliens who had sabotaged them watched from hidden monitors. Their jaws tightened as disbelief grew. They survived every trap. One muttered, another hissed. "It is unnatural." Yet another, voice trembling, whispered, "It is human." Inside the mine, the crew faced problems no alien mind could solve. Systems failed, doors sealed shut, tunnels blocked by debris. The aliens expected them to sit down and die, but humans were different. Where others saw impossible, they saw opportunity. At one sealed passage, the crew did not wait for tools. Instead, they pulled apart broken machines and turned them into makeshift drills. Sparks flew as they carved through steel, sweat dripping inside their helmets. Hours passed, but finally, the wall gave way. When oxygen scrubbers failed completely, the aliens watching leaned back. "Now it is over," they said, yet humans ripped open the bodies of broken air tanks, patched them with duct tape and metal shards, and forced oxygen flow back with nothing but stubborn hands against science, against reason. They made life out of scraps. One crewman laughed bitterly through his comms. "Aliens think we die here," Elias answered, his voice steady. "Aliens don't understand. Death only makes us fight harder." But survival came with a cost. In one chamber, parasites returned, drawn by the noise of drilling and sparks. Dozens of them skittered out of the walls, claws scraping, jaws open. The aliens watching recoiled in horror, expecting to see the last of humanity torn apart. Instead, they saw humans form a wall of fire and steel, back to back, rifles blazing. They fought not as individuals, but as one body. One parasite leapt onto Elias, claws sinking deep, his armor screeched under the weight. Before it could kill him, a crewmate drove a steel rod through its head, sacrificing his own defense to save his captain. The fight raged, and humans bled. Armor cracked, skin burned, but they held the line. Parasites fell one after another. Until silence returned, the tunnel was littered with broken alien creatures, and at the center stood humans, wounded but alive. The alien commander watching whispered, almost in awe, "How can they keep standing?" Another answered, "Because they refused to fall." But betrayal's shadow still hung heavy in one destroyed chamber. The humans discovered hidden devices, the explosives planted by the syndicate, proof of treachery. Elias stared at them in silence, his jaw clenched, his voice cold. They wanted us dead. They feared us more than the mine itself. His crew looked at him, waiting. Rage burned in their hearts. Yet Elias did not break. He simply said, "Then we show them their fear was right." And so they moved forward against all odds. Hours bled into days. Exhaustion weighed heavy, but every step carved new legend. They were not soldiers anymore. Not miners, not mercenaries. They were survivors walking into the teeth of the void. The mine itself seemed to resist them, groaning, twisting, trying to bury them alive. Yet every time it struck, humans answered with stubborn defiance. No tool? Build one, no path? Carve one, no air? Make it! Where aliens surrendered, humans adapted. Where aliens saw death, humans saw challenge. Far above, the syndicate grew restless. Their betrayal had failed. And now humans moved closer to uncovering something hidden, a secret no alien wanted revealed. Fear spread among leaders. If they reach the lower core, one whispered, they will discover the truth, another said, voice trembling. And if they survive it, the galaxy will never see us as strong again. In the depths of the mine, Elias felt the shift. His instinct screamed that something darker waited below. Not sabotage, not parasites, something far worse. His voice was quiet as he told his crew, the real danger is still ahead. Everything we faced was just the surface. The crew nodded, battered but unbroken. They had faced betrayal, they had faced death, and still they stood. If something darker waited, they would meet it as they had met everything else, together. And so, scarred, tired, and carrying the weight of their fallen, the humans stepped once more into the abyss, proving again what the galaxy was beginning to whisper in awe. Against all odds, humans endure. The tunnels grew quieter the deeper the humans went. The groaning metal and falling debris faded, replaced by a low hum that vibrated in their bones. It was not the black hole this time. It was something else, something hidden. Captain Elias paused at the edge of a massive chamber. His visor scanned the walls, and readings filled his screen with warnings, radiation, energy surges, and biosigns. But these signals were not natural. They were engineered. The crew stepped forward carefully. Their lights revealed machines buried in the rock. Massive structures built long before the mine. Cables like veins pulsed with strange light, and sealed chambers lined the walls. This is not mining equipment, whispered one of the engineers. Elias narrowed his eyes. No, this was hidden here. When they forced open the first chamber, the truth spilled out. Inside were alien creatures. Parasitic forms sealed in glass tanks. Their bodies twitched, claws tapping weakly against the glass. They were alive, and worse, they had been made. The humans stared in silence. Then realization spread. These were not natural parasites. They were weapons, experiments created in secret. The mine had not killed the alien workers. These creatures had unleashed when the systems failed. The aliens watching from their command ship panicked. They had hoped the humans would die before reaching this truth. Now the lie was exposed. Voices rose in fear. If they reveal this, our syndicate will fall. Another hissed. We cannot let them leave alive. But inside the mine, the humans were too busy surviving to care for politics. More chambers cracked open, parasites spilling out in swarms. Their claws clattered against the floor, eyes glowing. The crew raised weapons instantly. Here we go again, one muttered. The battle was brutal. Parasites swarmed in endless waves, climbing over walls, crawling across ceilings. Their screeches echoed like thunder, but humans fought like fire itself. Gunfire roared, steel clashed. Elias shouted orders. Every move was precise. Every strike meant survival. Yet even as they fought, the truth gnawed at their minds. Why were these things here? Why would the syndicate hide such weapons beneath a mine? The answer was simple and cold. They had been building an army, and the humans had walked straight into their secret. One alien officer, unable to stay silent, whispered into the comms, "Leave. Humans, you do not understand what you face." But Elias caught the voice, his reply sharp. "We understand enough. You unleash this, we will end it." The battle raged for hours. Every human bled, armor shredded, weapons overheated. But they did not fall. Each time one stumbled, another pulled them back. Each time a parasite broke through the line, it was crushed by raw defiance. Finally, silence fell. The floor was littered with broken alien bodies. The crew stood, shaking but alive. Elias raised his head, his voice heavy. "Now we know the truth. This was never about minerals. This was about their secret war." The crew looked at him, faces grim. They understood they had been betrayed not just for money, but for silence. The syndicate wanted the mine buried because it hid their crime. Far above, alien leaders argued. Fear gripped them. If the humans leave with proof, our empire is finished. One hissed, another trembled. But if we strike again and fail, the galaxy will know even more. Their voices cracked with panic, for they realized too late that betrayal had not broken humanity. It had made them stronger. Back in the depths, Elias placed a hand on the cold wall, feeling the hum of hidden machines. "We finish this," he said. "We burn it out so no one else suffers." His words carried the weight of every sacrifice. Rourke, Kara, all the fallen, they would not die for nothing. The crew gathered, readying their last supplies. Explosives and weapons, their bodies were broken, but their resolve was iron. They knew what waited below. More creatures, more darkness, maybe even worse truths, but not one spoke of retreat. For humans did not retreat, not when others depended on them, not when the galaxy turned away. They had walked into betrayal, into storms, into fire, and still stood. Now they would walk into hell itself. The black hole outside pulsed, its light bending across the chamber. Shadows danced across human faces. They looked like ghosts now, but ghosts with fire in their eyes. "Aliens think we fear death," Elias said quietly. "But they are wrong. We don't fear death. We fear failing each other. That is why we fight." The crew answered with silence, but their silence was stronger than any roar. Together they turned toward the final descent, toward the core where the syndicate's secret burned brightest. And as they stepped into the abyss, the galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath, for only humans dared walk this deep. And only humans would face the dark secret head-on. The descent into the core was like walking into the heart of a nightmare. The walls pulsed with alien light, veins of machinery glowing red as if alive. The hum had grown louder, vibrating through their bones. Ahead, massive doors sealed the final chamber. Captain Elias stood before them, his armor cracked, his face shadowed, but his eyes sharp. His crew gathered close, weary but unbroken. They had lost friends, fought betrayal, and uncovered the syndicate's darkest crime. Now one final task remained. End it. With a groan of metal, the doors slid open. The chamber inside was enormous, a cathedral of horror. Rows upon rows of tanks filled with parasites stretched into the shadows. Thousands of creatures twitched in their glass prisons, claws scratching, jaws opening soundlessly. It was an army waiting to be unleashed. The humans froze, even their hardened hearts shaken. This could destroy worlds," whispered one. Elias nodded grimly. "And that's why we end it here." The parasites sensed life. Cracks spread across the tanks. Liquid spilled. The creatures emerged in swarms, faster and larger than before. Their screeches filled the chamber, echoing like death itself. The crew formed a circle, rifles raised. "No retreat," Elias ordered. His voice was calm, unshaken. "We hold the line." The battle exploded. Parasites poured from every side, claws striking like lightning. The humans fought with fury. Weapons roared. Fire lit the chamber. Steel clashed against flesh. Screams mixed with gunfire. Each second was a storm. One by one, the crew fell back to tighter formations, bruised, bleeding, but never breaking. Elias fought at the front, his blade cutting, his rifle blazing. Every parasite he killed seemed replaced by two more, yet still he stood. Above, alien commanders watched in silence. Their sabotage had failed, their lies exposed, and now they saw humans facing a storm no species should survive. "They will die," one whispered, another shook his head. "No. They will win, or they will burn everything with them." And they were right, for as the fight raged, the humans began planting charges. Explosives lined the walls, the tanks, the machinery itself. Even as they fought, they prepared the end. Rourke's sacrifice echoed in their minds. Kara's last smile burned in memory. Every loss sharpened their resolve. Elias shouted above the chaos, "For the fallen." His crew answered, "For humanity." The charges were set, but the swarm pressed harder. A massive parasite, larger than the rest, crashed into the circle, its claws smashed metal, tossing humans aside. Elias staggered, blood in his visor. He faced the beast alone. "Not today," he growled, driving his blade deep into its chest. The creature shrieked and fell, shaking the chamber. The timer blinked. Seconds left. Elias opened his comms, his voice calm but heavy. "We've done it. The mine ends here. Whatever happens, humanity will not be forgotten." His crew stood in silence, ready. The explosives roared. Lights swallowed the chamber. Fire ripped through walls. Parasites shrieked as they were torn apart. Machines shattered. Energy screamed into the void. The entire mine collapsed, sucked into the black hole's pull. From orbit, the alien command ship watched in awe and terror as the station imploded. A storm of fire and steel spiraled into darkness, and then silence. For a long moment, the galaxy thought the humans were gone, lost forever in sacrifice. But then, against all odds, a small human ship broke free of the collapsing wreck, battered, smoking, but alive. Inside, only a handful of the crew remained, their faces scarred, their eyes blazing. The alien commander whispered, trembling, "They destroyed it. They faced the unfaceable and still returned." Another added, voice almost reverent, "No other species could have done this. No other species would even try." Across the galaxy, the story spread like wildfire of humans who walked into a curse mine, who faced monsters, betrayal, and death, and still emerged, of humans who destroyed an alien weapon that could have enslaved worlds. The legend grew, and with it, respect. From that day on, whenever a task was too dangerous, too impossible, too deadly, aliens whispered one truth: only humans take the jobs too deadly for others. And Captain Elias, standing in the quiet of his broken ship, looked at the stars with tired eyes. He had lost much, but he knew the legacy they left would burn forever. For humanity's strength was not in weapons or numbers. It was in their will to face the void, in their loyalty to each other, and in their refusal to break. And that legacy would echo across the galaxy for all time.